Hello everybody, and welcome to another one of our leadership training videos. In these videos, as you probably know by now, we basically explore different aspects of leadership. What are the traits, the skills, the knowledge, the insight, the ability that is needed in order to be a good leader or to grow into leadership? And I'm using my insights, experience and knowledge to provide you with some thoughts and ideas for you to consider as to how you can improve your leadership skills. Today we're going to talk about a subject which I think on the one hand is not always considered as you are a leader, but it's a really important one. So let's lay it out and then I'll come back to it. So I really want to suggest and encourage leaders to protect the weak and vulnerable in your team, in your department, in your group. You see, and I'm going to explain why in a minute, it's important. But the first thing to say is that very often as leaders, we do forget those who are struggling, those who are left behind, maybe those who are not considered as equals by the rest of your teammates or colleagues. For different reasons, it is challenging. And maybe as a leader, we have a tendency to say, I want to move fast with the best, those who are competent, those who I don't have to worry too much about, because they're the ones who make my leadership easier. Well, leadership is never easy anyway. That's not what it's about. It's about helping individuals grow. It's about helping your team grow, your department, your company, all those things. But to achieve that, you actually have to make sure that you and your leadership skills encourage those who are weak and vulnerable to achieve what they want to achieve. So let me just introduce myself. My name is Igwe. I have over 35 years experience leading, developing and training teams across 5 major European markets, but also Europe, Middle East and Africa in general. If you're familiar with the process, please feel free to like, comment, share. Love to hear your insights and thoughts about what you hear, and we can journey together and learn some more. So at the same time, please subscribe to the channel so you know what other videos are becoming available, and of course, look back on the previous ones and see what we've done in the past. So let's get into it. It's about protecting the weak and the vulnerable. And let's start from the beginning, as it were. You may say to yourself, let's start here. Why? Why do you need to protect the weak and the vulnerable? Well, the first is, I put you. That's me. Now, depending on where you are in your journey, you probably started out, let's be fair, you either went to college or you didn't, it doesn't matter, you graduated, you got into this company and you are learning the ropes, you are developing. So at some stage, you, just like me, started out. I started out as a vulnerable young man, resident engineer on a major international project. It was my first time on a construction site. And it was very, very challenging, not only because it was freezing cold up in Scotland, but also because my boss had great expectations of what I could achieve. And to be honest, it was a great recognition of what I could bring to be on that site as a resident engineer on my own. So I know what it was like to be vulnerable, to be weak, to be afraid, to be scared that I wasn't going to perform at the levels that was expected of me. So you too have experienced that. And maybe even when you go from one company to another, you become more senior, become more knowledgeable, but there's always that little bit of, how am I going to fare in this company? So maybe you're not as shy as I've put up there because you've had more experience, but you've still got that concern about you. So it starts with you. Imagine what you were like back when you started as a young man or woman. The individual could be shy. It's just part of their nature. They're not expressive. They don't like to talk. They don't know what to say. They're quiet. They're reserved. They prefer to play a role in a corner somewhere. But don't be deceived. It may also be that they are insecure. We live in a world which is so complex. There is so much, whether it's, for example, through social media, which they're involved in, that they are feeling the impact and the negativity of some social media communication. Maybe they're insecure because of their physique, because of their looks, because of their educational background. Who knows? But the fact is that they are all expressing something which you need to discover and focus on to understand the why. They may have personal issues. It may be that at home there's stuff going on. Now maybe they're not always weak and vulnerable, but there are times when you see it, and that's what you're supposed to do, is to look for those signals, those signs that say to you, this person is having an issue and needs to be dealt with. So what are the personal issues and how can you help deal with that? And last in this section of why, and I think it's really important, it's maybe they are challenged either physically or emotionally. Now, for example, emotionally, I had in my team a young lady who, it didn't come out during the interview process. She was being hired to do a particular role and function in the company, in the department, which she did very well, by the way. But as time went by, it was clear that she had some emotional and mental challenges. And these were becoming more and more serious and more noticed and noticeable, and was impacting the team as well as herself. And a decision had to be made, taking her through that process. Eventually we resolved it, but it may be that there's an emotional aspect, a mental aspect that doesn't come out or you don't know about, and maybe it's just piled on by pressure. So you have to understand the whys, but that is one of the reasons why protecting the weak and the vulnerable is important. And then you have to say, okay, so how do you deal with it? How do you deal with someone or those in your team, your department, your company who have whatever these issues may be? Well, there are various different things. I've put a few down. One is you need to spend time with them. You need to take time to observe, to understand, and obviously connect with them. You need to pay attention to what is it that you're seeing. Maybe you didn't see before, or it's manifested now, or it's just you've seen them because you review your team on a regular basis, I hope and assume. So pay attention to the signals. What are they in here that is going on that you haven't seen before? Ask the question as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong in asking an individual, bring them into your office, or say, let's go grab a coffee, or at the coffee machine, whatever it happens to be. Hey, I notice something has changed, or something's going on, or in the meetings you've been really quiet, or you're coming in later than you normally do, or whatever. Find out what it is, pay attention, and then ask the questions. Find out, discover, dig into what is going on, but do so with compassion, care, and understanding. We talked about this in a previous video. And then you have to decide, how can you support them? Is there a support mechanism within the company, within the business? Is there a support mechanism that you have in your team, your department? Maybe you need to buddy them up with somebody else. Maybe through their shyness or quietness, they're really good at what they do, but they just need somebody else to be there and encourage them and maybe work through whatever the project or the issue is that they have to deal with. So provide them with support through the company, through the team, and through yourself to say, I am here. If you need me, let me be aware I'm there. And perhaps the least significant but the most important is you have to show patience. You have to be patient with the individual. It could simply be that they take longer to learn. Maybe they learn in a different way. Maybe they need more time to do things. Remember when you were at school? Maybe you needed more time to finish an essay, an exam, an assignment. Be patient, because by being patient, you're allowing them then to express themselves in the right sort of way. So in dealing with weak and vulnerable people, the first is to ask why, try and figure out what is going on for them, but also starting from yourself as to where you were. And then how can you help them to resolve the problem that they have? Because at the end of the day, there is one objective. In my mind, there are several components of this, but the one objective is for people to know that they are in a safe place. We don't go to work to be harassed. We don't go to work to feel upset by what we do. We don't go to work to feel inferior to somebody else. All these things happen, don't get me wrong, I know that. But you as a leader, one of your primary responsibilities is to ensure that the place where people work is safe. It is safe. Remember, they spend 8, 9, 10 hours of their day, the majority of their life, in your space, in your environment, in your team, in your company. It has to be safe in all measures of the word. And so to achieve that, here are some of a few, but they go towards the aspect of how to support someone. You have to be seen to be fair as a leader. When you're looking at vulnerable people, even if in the case of the lady I mentioned in my team who was emotionally and mentally challenged, I had to be incredibly fair, not just to her, but to the rest of the team, because they could see, and to be honest, some of them inevitably, as you know, as in school or any other environment, some people sought to try and bully her either by words or actions or just silly things that were totally inappropriate. You've got to seem to be fair, to say to them, this is not right, and that's not the way to behave. And for her to understand that she is indeed in a safe place. You have to be sensitive, goes without saying. You have to be caring. I talked about caring and compassion in a previous video, so you want to check that out. Because your objective is to bring out the best in those weak and vulnerable, in the same way that you're going to bring the best out in the more successful, more capable, stronger, if you like. And at the end of the day, it's all about you nurturing them. Nurturing them in the sense that you are there not only to bring out the best, but to help them to grow. And as they grow, you want them to go on to better and greater things, whether it's in your department, in your team, in your company, or in other things in life, so that they can look back and go, he or she, as my leader, provided me with the really best opportunity to be successful. So I hope that this leadership training video has resonated with you, some thoughts for you to take away. Love to hear how you may be dealing with or handling vulnerable individuals or weaker individuals. But at the same time, like I say, just be sensitive. We live in a time where there's so much happening outside of our company, our team, our business. There's so much personal challenge and stress. We know there are mental health issues, working from home, what that looks like, dealing with children and everything else. There's so much going on. So don't forget the weak and vulnerable. Care for them and show them that you care. That's really, really important. So I hope this video has resonated with you. If so, please feel free to like, share and comment. And as I said, subscribe to the channel so you know what other videos become available. And I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Thank you.